Episode number 242. Are these comics going to make good film and television shows? We got the return of Dr. Aphra in Star Wars, and then we have G.I. Joe number 8. Let's talk about them right now. We got Marvel versus Image. Welcome back to the channel, everyone. Thank you so much for spending time with me as we rant about movies, comic books, and television shows, as well as the occasional board game. I'm your host, Frank Zanca. I'm an award-winning screenwriter, novelist, and comic book writer, as well as a filmmaker. And yeah, we're going to talk about the return of Dr. Aphra. Gonna be awesome. Or not. That's what we're going to talk about. Remember, we're going to give you a like, give me a thumbs up if you can. And if you can't subscribe, please do. Ring that bell, ding, ding. Share this video out there and do all those YouTube things. Also remember, too, that I am a writer, so if you'd like to check out anything that I've written, you can go to Amazon.com and just type my name in, or there's a link in the description below down there. You'll see my 4-novel quadrilogy, Destiny Aurora. It was also made into a board game, an RPG. It was also on Audible. It's also made into a graphic novel as well, which you can also purchase. It's a full 150 pages. Also, my fantasy novel, Tales of Ravenor, the Iron Witch. And we are now launching our new comic graphic novel called Fairy Tales of Terror. That's going to focus on a psychotic Cinderella, a murderous Captain Hook who has his own fire fairy now. And they are in our world just creating mayhem with a secret agenda, and they are being tracked down by Tiger Lily from Peter Pan. It's going to be awesome. We're in pre-launch right now, where you can sign up to get notified about when we do launch. I now have, as of today, I have over 150 followers on there. We went up probably like 100 just today. So definitely jump in there. And get notified and join the rest of the team that's on there. I'm really impressed how quickly it jumped up. So hopefully this can be a really good campaign. All right, so let's jump into Dr. Aphra. This is by Marvel, and I like the character of Dr. Aphra. I collected a lot of it. I did read the previous rendition of Dr. Aphra by Alyssa Wong, because that was one of the reasons, too, that I'm leery of this whole thing, because Marvel doesn't hire writers, they cast them. So if the character is Asian, female, lesbian, they have to hire a female Asian lesbian to write it. It makes no sense why Marvel does this, but that's what they do. So we went from Alyssa Wong to Cheris Chen. All right, so I'm like, oh, I like the character, but this might be a really big risk of trying this out, because they didn't hire the right person. They just hired them because they looked a certain way, and I'm not down with that, because there are plenty of writers. That's like saying that I can't write female characters because I don't have a fucking vagina. It makes no sense. But that's how these guys, that's how Marvel is right now, which is why they're kind of in the dumps. They're not hiring the right people for the right projects, based on your knowledge of the character, based on, what you've done in the past. It has nothing to do with what you look like, which makes no sense. It just makes zero sense. So anyway, but I really like the character, but Alyssa Wong wrote that thing into the garbage. By the end, it was just like completely unreadable. And I finally jumped off it after bad month. So I finally just jumped off it. Then it ended up being canceled anyway. But now the character is back, and I really like the idea of the character. I like the idea of having an archaeologist in space, and then, Indiana Jones in space, and then on top of that, she's a criminal. It's a really good idea, I think. Especially with all the Jedi artifacts that are out there and things to that effect. So the way that this is taken on, I liked it. I did. I'll just give that to you straight out. I liked what Cheris Chen did here. I think that the artwork is decent in here, but I think it's over inked, if that makes any sense. Like the inking is the lines are so wide. I mean, the lines are extremely wide. So there's just very, very heavy inks all the way through it. So let's go through the storyline real quick so we can talk about whether it could make a good film or television show. Because, again, this could be a good, Disney Plus show. Because Dr. Aphra cannot carry her own movie. It wouldn't work, right? Unless she was just a sideline character. However, as a Disney Plus show, this would be something that could work. Especially if you were smart and put Luke in it. What a great idea to relaunch the character and throw Luke in here. Now, he was in previous things, but only like sporadically. He'd pop up and pop out. But this, I guess, is picking up kind of where the other stuff, because where Dr. Aphra really shined was when she was working for Vader and the Murderbots. That was where this one was, where Dr. Aphra was great. And it didn't stay that way, unfortunately. And Black Crashanking, or whatever they used him for the Boba Fett show, he was a good addition as well. But anyway, we start out with her basically going in for like a parole hearing or something like that, and I guess somebody gave her a recommendation, and they let her go. And they said, but by the way, you can't do anything criminal or we're going to put you right back in. So, of course, the next scene is her doing something criminal. But it's all kind of, they already know she's there. They're watching her and whatever else. They're like, okay, execute. And, she's trying to get away, and they blast it, and, they turn the speeder over, and she's basically stuck and getting arrested again, except this time she gets brought, I want to say Coruscant, but it's not. It's Quaro Naka. I don't know that planet. That's what it says. But she's brought in front of like a New Republic representative. She's mentioning something that's on the woman's desk, and she's like, yeah, you keep your hands off that. But anyway, they bring in her accomplice, which is like a Greedo guy. I don't know the name of the species off the top of my head. I should, but I don't. But anyway, they bring him in, and he says, and the representative, the New Republic representative says, and we're going to call your parole officer. And they call the parole officer, and the guy's phone rings. What a great idea. I got to commend Cheris Chen for that. That was extremely funny. I actually laughed out loud. She turned her own parole officer to do a criminal thing with her. And she's like, I told you to lie. And he just spouts out everything. I didn't mean to do it. He starts crying. It's pretty funny. I gotta hand it to her for that. That was a very, very funny scene. But anyway, Luke ends up showing up, and I think the artwork there is pretty good. I think the face is almost, if you see her in something else, it's almost like the artwork from Marvel Magazine, Mad Magazine back in the day, when they were doing Luke's face. I'm going to show you one that looks almost exactly like what they would have done back in the day in Mad Magazine. But anyway, they're after some kind of a Jedi artifact, which is a gauntlet. That it may or may not have Force abilities, or give somebody the ability to use the Force if they don't have it. But anyway, they need it back. It's in the hands of a smuggler. So Luke recruits her to come with him. And here's the frame I'm talking about that looks like it's out of Mad Magazine. But I like this artwork a lot better than the original Dr. Aphra, I like the way I mean, she doesn't look Asian in here, but I like her face a lot better here. But anyway, they end up meeting with the smuggler, and she's kicking Luke under the table because they don't want him to know that he's a Jedi. But anyway, the guy ends up having it, and he's like, "We'll pay you for it, blah blah blah. Whatever you got planned already, we're gonna pay you more, that kind of thing." Anyway, Luke ends up revealing himself, and the gauntlet goes onto his hand, and it has some kind of residual effect with the Force with him that basically uses, I guess, Force lightning or whatever else, and he can't get it off. But she realizes that he has, a robotic hand. So she's going to use that to do feedback, and she attaches the smuggler to the table with binders or whatever you want to call them. But finally, she opens up the hatch on his hand, and she creates a feedback loop that dismantles or disconnects the thing from his hand, and she, I guess, coils him up or whatever else to eliminate the feedback. But you can see what happens down here, because he holds it back for a period of time. But now he's caught up. Not that he can't unravel himself, but I think he can, but he pleads with her to do the right thing. And because I think that he can get out of it in 5 seconds. But anyway, she ends up saying, "Oh, okay," and she lets him loose, and they go back, and she also stole the thing off the desk and shows it to him in the ship later. But anyway, she hits some kind of a button, the representative, and she takes the tattoos, which I think are some kind of a electronic thing for her. But anyway, because I think she has used them in the past, but they disappear. And that's where it ends. Not much of a cliffhanger. But overall, I thought it was pretty good. I thought that it was in comparison to the Alyssa Wong stuff, I liked it. There was no message in it. There was no, lesbian stuff in it. They kept away from it and just went total Star Wars with it. And I liked it. I thought it was a good, solid first issue, and I like Luke being in there, and let's see where it goes from here. Not good stuff. Again, I think it would work pretty well on Disney Plus. And you got an original character, so you can't mess with canon with it. That's the biggest problem with Disney Plus stuff. They keep messing with canon. But anyway, let's go into G.I. Joe. This is by Joshua Williamson. This is number 8. Baroness is still a member of the G.I. Joe team, which I like. And in this case, we know she's going to turn eventually. We have Cobra that had a big battle with the Joes for the first time. They now know who each other are, or especially they know who Cobra is. And of course, Destro is connected with Cobra Commander. Cobra Commander is from Cobra Law in this one, where they had one of the Transformers, Megatron. They had Megatron, who had his arm cut off or whatever else. And of course, he was excommunicated from Cobra Law, meaning Cobra Commander. So he can't really go back there or find out anything that happened with the Transformers. But he's fixated on this now because he knows that Duke had a problem with them. But anyway, so that's where all that and then they're talking about Energon and all this other stuff as well, which he is trying to mine. But anyway, we start out with, which we think in the beginning they kind of red herring it to the point where they're looking for Baroness, and we're thinking that she might have turned already. It's not the case. It's just purely the fact that they're doing an exercise, and she takes down Cover Girl, but then she stops, and then Risk hits her, and it's just paint. It's just a paint gun. But anyway, Duke is like, let's run it again. You shouldn't have done that. We'll do 2-on-2 this time. You and Stalker go together. And she's like, look, man, I need a break. I need to get out of here. I need 48 hours. But Duke is like, I don't think that's going to happen. Then we switch over to Cobra for literally a single page where he talks about the Energon and the Transformer. Then we switch over to Clutch, who has Hound with him, and Hound is a Transformer. That's his Jeep. But nobody knows that but him at this point. And then when Duke comes in, it immediately transforms back into a Jeep. And he's like, you got a new Jeep? And he's like, no, I just found this in the back. I'm just fixing it up. I didn't buy nothing new. There's no requisition or anything like that. And he says, all right, well, just, do what you got to do. And then Baroness shows up. Oh, you give him the, time to get out of here, but not me. And finally, he agrees to give her 48 hours to do whatever she needs to do. And she goes onto her private jet, and CoverGirl shows up, and she says, nah, I'm coming with you. And she's like, well, this is probably your first time on a private jet. She's like, I've been a model, man. I've been all over the world. I've been on Air Force One, but, your little thing is cute. So I do like the personality conflicts here. And then when they get off the plane, when the plane lands, Baroness is gone. Baroness is just gone. She's like, already? But meanwhile, she goes into like a little French cafe, and then CoverGirl shows up and says, yeah, I have a tracker on you, so you can't just leave. But she says, what are you doing here? Of all places, you could be anywhere, and now you're at this little cafe. And she says, you see the people over there? That's my parents. This is the weekend that they met, and then they do this every time, So this is, I think, why she was pushing for this weekend to go away, so that she can see her parents. But she doesn't want her parents to see her. She just wants to see her parents from afar. It's kind of sad, actually. So they don't say what happened between them, and I think she's holding something against them. But anyway, then a whole bunch of, like, hawks or falcons attack the restaurant, and she's like, what the hell's going on? She's like, get my parents to safety, because they can't see me, and I'll take care of everybody else. And before long, in fact, CoverGirl actually gets scraped in the back. And then we got this reveal of this character named Raptor, of which I mean, back in the day, I collected the toys, but I don't remember this character. It must be a newer character, because I don't know who this character is. But overall, really good stuff. G.I. Joe continues to be good. And again, I like the personality conflict with the two women, but they're also might be friends, which also, when this happens, when Baroness finally transforms into Cobra, all the relationships now that they've constructed over the first 12 issues, because I'm thinking that 12, 13 is where they're going to finally, make her the villain, that all these relationships would then, make it harder or more difficult for them to fight each other. I really appreciate that, actually. I think it's a really good idea. But anyway, G.I. Joe, I can't wait for a new G.I. Joe movie, because in my opinion, they've never gotten G.I. Joe right on screen. So it would be great to finally see a comic-accurate, cartoon-accurate movie that they haven't done yet. I don't think they've even done Destro in the mask yet, right? They did Destro without the mask, but whatever. And Dr. Aphra, believe it or not, I like it, and I'm going to keep going with it. I really hope Cherish Chen sticks with what she's doing. All right, that's it for me. Remember to give me a like, give me a thumbs up if you can. And if you can subscribe, please do. Ring that bell, ding, ding. Share this video out there, and remember, too, to check out my stuff on Amazon and jump in on Fairy Tales of Terror. Over 150 followers as of tonight. It would be Saturday. So I think that we're going to get to 300 or 400 before we even launch. I'm really kind of hoping, because we're not going to launch for another month, or 3.5 weeks, I think it is. So yeah, so jump in now so you get notified about when we have our early bird specials and things to that effect. All right, thanks again for watching, guys. I'll see you in the next one. Have an awesome week.